Hi, I'm Tatiana, a Florida certified teacher and a test prep expert with study.com. And I want to share some things that I've learned with you so that one day you can become a certified teacher as well. Today, we're going to take a look at some questions specifically from test code 061 of the Ftce Student Exceptional Education K-12. It covers the subtopic Knowledge of Instructional Practices and Exceptional Student Education. Are you ready? All right, let's get started.
Our first problem is as follows. Macy is a gifted student. She has been able to skip grade levels in curriculum due to her prior knowledge and ability to quickly learn complex information. Macy is receiving what type of education? Our answer choices are as follows. Point of view acceleration, radical acceleration, multi-age teams, and dual enrollment. First one is point of view acceleration. This is not a recognized term. Point of view refers to perspective. So in this case, this particular answer choice is probably not the right answer. The next one is radical acceleration. Radical acceleration refers to the practice of allowing students to move through educational materials at a much faster pace. In Macy's case, she has been able to skip grade levels and progress quickly because of her ability to understand complex concepts. This describes radical acceleration. So we're going to hold on to this one. We'll put a little check mark here for now. Let's move on to multi-age teams. Multi-age teams involve students of different ages working together in the same classroom. So this option doesn't really apply to Macy's situation. So we're going to go ahead and put an X on that one as well. Let's look at the last one, dual enrollment. Dual enrollment typically allows high school students to take college courses that will get them ready for college. Macy is described as skipping grades, which is different from being simultaneously enrolled in both college and high school classes. So dual enrollment doesn't fit her situation here at all as well. Which leaves us with our second answer choice, which is radical acceleration. That would be our answer because remember, radical acceleration refers to the practice of allowing students to move through educational materials at a much faster pace than usual. Problem number 2. Students are assigned reading partners at the beginning of the school year. They as well are assigned into small groups. To ensure that each groupings are effective, teachers should allow students to choose their reading and small group partners so they become comfortable working in groups. Randomly assign the groupings so that students learn to work with a variety of people. Keep the students in their assigned groupings the entire year so that they work on building relationships, or change the grouping regularly to suit the needs of the students. Our first option says allow students to choose their reading and small group partners so they become more comfortable working in groups. While you might make the students feel more comfortable, it could limit their exposure to new perspectives and social aspects, which is very important when you're working with a group. So for this answer choice, we'll put a question mark for right now. Let's go to our second answer choice. Randomly assign the groupings so that the students can learn to work with a variety of people. This might work initially, but keeping the same groupings without adjusting the students, it needs to be more organized and may lead to ineffective results over time. So this one is a definite no. Our third option here is to keep the same assigned groups throughout the entire year. Though this may be an option, long-term groups may help build relationships, but that doesn't also always allow flexibility. So this option right here is also not effective as a classroom teacher. Let's look at our last one here. It says change the groupings regularly to suit the needs of the students. Changing the groups regularly allows teachers to adapt the changing dynamics and needs of their students. So this one here is a very, very close contender here. So let's look back to the first option. And though this may be an approach that you may take maybe at the beginning of the year, it's not something that will be a long-term goal. It limits the exposure of new perspectives, social growth, which is very important to students. So we're going to go ahead and make that an X. So our answer choice for this one is you want to change the groupings regularly to suit the needs of the students. Problem number 3. Which of the following is an advantage of using data-driven instruction over more traditional methods of teaching? Option number 1. The teacher can use the test results to improve and modify the curriculum. The teacher can use technology to create standardized tests. The teacher can use technology to make learning more engaging. The teacher can now save large files of test results for future use. Our first option, the teacher can use test results to improve and modify the instruction. This is really the key to what data-driven instruction is. It allows the teacher to make informed decisions based on actual students' performance data. This helps to modify and improve the curriculum. So let's take a look at option choice number 2. We'll put a question mark holder here for this one for now, but we'll go back to it. Option number 2 says, the teacher can use technology to create standardized tests. While technology is very helpful in creating standardized tests, this isn't specific for data-driven instruction. So we're going to say that this is not the correct answer. Let's look at the next one. The teacher can use technology to make learning more engaging. Engaging students with technology is very important, but it's not the central advantage of data-driven instruction. The key and the benefits to data-driven instruction is the ability to make informed adjustments to the curriculum, not just using technology itself. So we're going to say that this one is not an answer as well. So let's look at our last choice here. The teacher can now save large files and test results for future use. While data storage is super important and it's super helpful for a teacher, it's not particularly the reason why we use data-driven instruction. The power of data-driven instruction comes from analyzing the results. So once everything is saved, we do have to go back and look at it. And we want to immediately make improvements to the curriculum. I want you to remember what you keep hearing here is curriculum, modifying the curriculum. We don't want to save large files, but we also want to be able to modify the curriculum to make it better for our students. So we're going to say that this one is not one of our answers as well, which leaves us back to our first answer choice here, which is correct. The teacher can use results to improve and modify curriculum. Problem number 4. As the school year progresses, a special education teacher begins assessing how well students are performing in class. The students who are falling behind, the teacher identifies how best to add support into instruction to make sure each student is getting what they need to progress. Students who are mastering content are enriched with extended assignments. What is the teacher providing in class for each student? Our answer choices are as follows: special assistance, required instruction, educational assistance, individualized instruction. First one is special assistance. This term generally refers to providing students help with specific needs, but doesn't capture the broader idea of personalized instruction for all students. And according to our question, that is what the teacher is doing. She's providing personalized instruction for the student. So we're going to go ahead and put an X here. The next answer choice is required instruction. This implies teaching the standard curriculum, but it doesn't include tailoring or adapting instruction based on student performance as seen in the question. So this also does not show what the teacher is doing as well. It just doesn't match. Then we have educational assistance. While it is a broad term for support, it doesn't fully capture the specific focus on adjusting instruction based on individual student needs. So this answer choice is also not correct. Our last answer choice is individualized instruction. This means we're tailoring the teaching methods and support to meet the unique needs of the student. The teacher adjusts the learning experiences based on the progress of the student, ensuring those who need extra help receive it, while excelling others who may need a bit more of a challenge. So in this case, individualized instruction is exactly what this teacher is doing in this scenario.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel for many more practice questions. Also to get notified when other videos are posted. Hope to see you soon.